Good morning, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of the Rush Hour podcast here with a Bachelor Clayton Eckerd live stream. Let me make sure that I'm in the right place. Can somebody leave a comment? Am I in the stream? That's okay. It looks like everyone's commenting already. So good morning, everybody. Ashley's in the chat. Wendy, Monica, Loonicorn, Jen, Carrie, NASCAR Carol, France. Let me know where you're coming from, and we're going to try to populate this thing. And we got a lot to talk about. I've got receipts I'm going to share. I'm actually pulling them up right now from people in the Ron Owens camp that are still adamant that the truth will come out. They're adamant that this is a smear campaign. It looks like Reddit is in on the smear campaign. It must be Reddit, the corporate office. How much is someone in the chat? Let me know. How much is Reddit worth? Is Reddit worth? Let's just see right here. Reddit is worth $1.8 billion. In July of 2017, it raised $200 million for a $1.8 billion valuation. I'm sure it's worth a lot more now. Either way, I guess they're in on the conspiracy of which person faked being pregnant or not being pregnant. As you guys know, it's my belief after doing my due diligence that Clayton Eckerd was part of a scam. Now you might say, wow, what was she trying to scam him to, sell him faulty Taylor Swift concert tickets? No, I believe the scam was punishment. It was a sick game. It was control over strong, tall men by a small, frail human. And I believe that game was played out through multiple seasons of the Laura story. Those seasons being Matt, Sean, Greg, Dave, Woodnick, Clayton, and the list goes on. So I'm going to share with you guys a huge win, as is posted here by Instagram. Reddit destroys Laura Owens' attorney. A huge win for the First Amendment. And the irony is so rich. The irony that Laura hires a quote-unquote First Amendment warrior, or whatever the heck he is. And it is the First Amendment that gets shoved metaphorically so far up his ass, he's coughing amendments. Freedom of speech. You know what I mean? It's insane. He wants to fight for your right to party, right? Fight for your right to party. Ida is checking in from Denmark. Good to see you there in Denmark. I'm guessing it's, afternoon there? Late afternoon, right? What do you got? Probably a 7-hour difference from here in Central Time Zone. Eliza in Ohio says freezing. Yes, it is. Colorado's checking in. Hotlanta, Georgia's in the house. Yes, Sarah said, share this stream wherever you can. Please do. Kansas City's here. Boy, what a game last night for the LA Rams. I lived in LA for 10 years, but I never jumped on the LA sports bandwagon. Their teams kind of stink, although the Lakers have a good history. But as a New Englander, I'm rooting for the Rams. Obviously I want, I've been covering LA with the Rush Hour podcast and, of course, all of the tragedies that are out there, which is far more important globally than what we're talking about here. But hey, this is why journalism needs to and should be and is being rewarded on the lower levels, because journalism of this sort is what fills in the gaps between the bigger stories that people care about. You can't get Megan Fox to cover this. She'd rather, cry about what reporter, clothespins he's wearing to put his, jacket on while he delivers the news. She wants culture war issues. We're here covering a story that does have grave consequence. If you can live in a world where you can destroy somebody else, take a complete large steamy dump all over the legal system, there's a reason why you can't walk into a store and just walk out and steal something. Now, you might say, well, in certain cases, they don't prosecute you for minor shoplifting. That's a different story. If this is minor shoplifting, it's got a real result. Now, yeah, there's some stores. I remember, maybe, has anyone ever worked at Victoria's Secret in the audience here? Anyone else slinging them thongs there? Ding, ding. At Victoria's Secret, I was told, I don't know this from personal reasons, although I do like shopping there. It's just, there's a good energy. I don't know. There's just a pile of, I was trying to pick something out for my wife for, pregnancy, and I was just overwhelmed. They're like, what do you want? I was like, underwear. I don't know. Give me cotton. What? What style do you want? Stretchy? I don't know. Either way, the point I'm trying to make is that apparently they had a rule where you're allowed to just walk out and steal something, and they weren't going to chase you down because the cost of the thong wasn't worth the PR of of whatever issues could come from it. So they were just trained to say, you know what, if someone does want to steal, you just kind of let them steal, and we have bigger fish to fry. It's just not worth our time. And that's, I think, how the court system handles perjury. They go, okay, if we can't prove it, just, whatever. We got murderers and we got bigger things to worry about. I'm sorry. With artificial intelligence, the legal system kind of created a monster by not prosecuting perjury. Now, we hold out hope that Rachel Mitchell will do just that. We hold out hope. But again, we'll see how it goes down. My belief is, and people say, well, the longer you wait, the more likely it is they want the case to die down. My belief is Rachel Mitchell will prosecute because she has career ambition. She's not trying to just become the county prosecutor. I'm sure she wants to be the state prosecutor. Maybe she wants to be the attorney general. I'm not sure, but when you get into that position, your eyes are on, becoming, something bigger and bigger. And boy, if she ever runs for higher office and drops the ball on this slam dunk case, people will cover this story and go, why did you let this guy down? One of your constituents here. It might not seem like a big story, but it was so obvious what was going on. You informed the audience you were investigating them. And then, we're so familiar that if people do the work and the research that they're going to kind of come to the same conclusion we did. We're unless your name's like Uncle Fester or whatever there. But either way, I've got a funny screen grab that was part of my. Oh, I didn't even share this here. This was my my header right here. You can see how quickly. And by the way, we have 195 people in the chat. With all due respect, God bless my friend Megan Fox. She had 1,200 in the chat yesterday. We need to get these numbers up. And I know it's not you guys I'm talking to, but hit the like button and let's make sure that we can populate this thing right now. Sarah said, be sure to send Dave some breadstick money through Super Chats. Yes, thank you. But at the very least, let's get the likes in. Let's make sure every single person's hit that button because, the only way to reward more consistent live streams is to make sure that this is worth all of our time to be here. Ikimbo says, Gingras can't even win against a low-hanging fruit. That's right. He's like a short giraffe. I can't even. He's like, giraffes are supposed to get the higher fruit. He can't even. He's got a stubby neck, metaphorically. So we had covered this. This is my thumbnail. Someone said, in your video, you mentioned Laura may sue people after this for, I guess, how they've spoken about her. Will you be her lawyer for that? And his response, still continued vague threats. If we win, and if I still have a license, and assuming no other info comes out to change my mind, then yes, absolutely. So a few contingencies to clear, but it's a solid maybe. And then so Justice for All Victims of Laura Owen said, so no then. Yeah, I mean, imagine if you were, it was a heat wave, you're 9 years old, you're like, Mom, can we go to the pool today? And she's like, well, if this happens and if we do the laundry, and it's like at the end, you're like, all right, it's not going to happen. Too many contingencies. You know what I mean? We don't get to go to the pool. I get to watch a live stream of someone else going to the pool. Sarah, that's right. Likes are free. All right. So anyhow, yeah. Got to get you guys in. Oh, we passed 200, but we really got to be at like 700. I have a private DM I want to share with you guys, and I just need to make sure there's enough people in the chat. It's a DM. Here, I'm going to share with you a DM that was sent to me. I'm redacting the information, but the DM explains somebody that is friends with Ron Owen, explaining vaguely where Ron Owen's head is at, where the Owens family head is at. So I'm going to need you guys to get in that chat for us to take a look at that. Hit the like button, and we'll let this continue populating. I know it's kind of early, but hey, that's no excuse. So I'm going to share with you several different things. I'm going to share with you the, let's see what we have here. Here it is. Laura v. Clayton, the appellee's answering brief. This is very long. We've probably had at least four different YouTubers have already covered this in its entirety. So I might glaze through it to the fun parts. T-Rob is there. Good to see you. Erica's in the chat. Let's see. Catherine says, I really want the documentary to become a reality. Can you imagine the people who have crossed Janie's path, who have information to share all the way back to high school? Well, look, the documentary is happening in one way or another. I don't have up-to-date information from the documentarians pitching it, but I'll just say this. I am fully planning to take my show live and tell it that way. My hope is if I take it to 10, 15 cities, I'm even considering doing it in people's living rooms. Hold on. Listen to why. When it comes to stand-up comedy, the best thing you can do is run your set and you run your act in front of as many diverse audiences as possible. When it comes to the documentary, I can only tell it through my own story, which is here's how I stumbled on it. Here's how I tried to, get the information. Here's how she started suing me. Here's how I learned about Chase J. Jones and blah, 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 blah. That reveal, right now, for those, I have a few people that have kind of been my eyes working on it with me. It's already at 80 slides. It's too long. I need to cut it down into the most effective 1 hour long story for myself performing live. I plan on calling up friends, Bachelor friends. I'm gonna reach out to, because I know Christina Mandrell and Braden know of the story, but not the full depths of it. I'm gonna say, hey, let me come over and I'll bring a bottle of wine and let me literally perform the story for you while you just like absorb it, and then I'll be able to like vibe on where I lost people or, because there's a lot of information, right? And my plan is to do that, take it to small clubs, maybe small performance spaces, and then eventually I'll hire a film crew and I'll shoot it like a TED Talk. And there'll be moments where it's funny, and then there'll be moments where it's not. What's interesting here is I got a few different things I'm going to show. I'm going to show Clayton's on a new podcast, which is super interesting. So let's go check that out. What's the podcast called again? It's I was speaking with the creators of the podcast, and they were shocked at how bizarre. Oh, it's called Dating Detectives Podcast. They said, look, we get a lot of stories, but this one's crazy. And as far as Instagrams go for a podcast, it's got 59,000 followers, which is a pretty big podcast. So here's Clayton explaining the story to them.
She chose twins is because she did so with the previous guy, because she found out that most labs won't do a paternity test.
So look at this audience response. I will have waivers that the audience will sign when I tell this story, when I have buttoned it down and tell this story. And I will have audiences losing their mind. And I'm going to make sure the stories run through the proper, I'll get a lawyer to run through just to double check everything I'm saying. And quite frankly, I might even change her name. I don't know. Maybe I'll call her by her name. Maybe I'll reveal her name at the end. Either way, I want the story to live on in itself. And when she decides that she's going to, and by the way, the more she podcasts and the more she tries to defend herself, the more solid the documentary becomes, because now we have video evidence of her lying. So by all means, knock yourself out. Try to explain away Chase J. Jones. By all means, try to explain this stuff. It'll just make these responses all the more interesting.
When twins are involved.
What? Why?
Yeah, because there's a small chance that there could be two separate fathers.
These women are embarrassed on behalf of Laura Owens, which I understand. It's like you never want your team to.
I just come off reality television. I was on The Bachelorette first. I was one of 30 contestants.
A little show, just a tiny little show called The Bachelorette.
The show that my mom loved growing up that I made her hate, but she loves it again now. But so I went on The Bachelorette, was one of 30 of the male contestants, and got to the final 8, got sent home, but then was asked to come back as The Bachelor. So then
All right, so Stephanie said, please live stream your practices to the Patreon. We know the case well. What I might do is offer some private live streams to the Patreon. I will have to privately check everybody's IDs just to make sure that, and again, in the end, it'll be public, so I don't care if Laura does know, but just to prevent any sort of, preemptive harassment by her.
Dated 30 women. That's a whole other blow up. Let's just say that I was, an unbiased opinion, from what I've read online, I was a polarizing bachelor. So
I need to hear more. Okay,
more than that.
I need more now.
I just come off reality television.
All right, so I need more now is a great response. It's all right. So let's so we have that. And is there one more clip? Let's see.
So I was contacted by this investigator.
No, that's an old one. So anyway, they're doing great work. I might ask one of these podcasters, I think Freedom Barbie, I might see if she wants to do an interview with me, because I'd love to know more. I'd love to interview podcasters just about what they've got going on, why they get into what they get into. Private investigator spilling the tea. So I'm going to see if she wants to do an interview. Not really about the Clayton stuff at all. Just I find it interesting. All right, so let's see. We are at 300 people in the chat. Like I said, let's get to 500 or 600 before I share that private DM. But let's do this. We've got several stories to get into today. Reddit destroys Laura Owens' attorney. Let's just flip through this. Justice for Clayton official is doing, I mean, honestly, they deserve a Pulitzer. And the same thing, the Twitter, all the accounts that are bringing this to light are doing such a good job. Landmark, because I could never source all, I could never do what I do and also be the investigative team. It's actually been quite a well-run commune that we have here, folks. You know, the ecosystem that exists, the audience that continues to support the investigative research, and those that put their time in to do this. I got to tell you, when I do perform live comedy and I see people that are out and about, for over a year now, I've had people coming to shows saying, you know, this case has meant so much to them because they've wanted the truth out there and it's helped them heal through their own, whatever their own issues may be. There's so many that this has helped people through, not me, but just exposing. And I got to tell you, it's only good vibes, right? So the case itself has brought such a dark cloud over you know, Clayton's story, but the actual people that are involved are the nicest people you've ever met. Involved, and by that I mean not Laura, but the people that are in the audience. Fancy Pants says, I will happily show my ID and prove I'm not Laura to watch a preview of your show. I don't want to preview it to you guys till I have a real good working rough draft. And I'm going to, like I said, I'll do some live shows too, where I'll probably create an hour-long story and then do a Q&A with the audience. And it's going to be kind of like a true crime comedy show. Not to make light, obviously it's a tight needle to thread, not to make light of the serious parts, but to sort of use shame and humor as a way to say, hey, this is wrong. BS said Reddit lawyers schooled Dingus on copyright law, and it was epic. So here it is. Baby Jingy, attorney for Laura Owens, tried to subpoena Reddit for the personal identity of anonymous user Hito Zakura, and Reddit wasn't having it. Why? Because the First Amendment still exists. Anonymous speech is a cornerstone of free expression, and this unconstitutional subpoena was a hard no. Reddit hired Perkins Scully LLP to issue the smackdown, a prominent international law firm headquartered in Seattle. It was one of the largest law firms in the U.S., known for employing Ivy League educated lawyers and for representing major corporations, startups, and high-profile clients. Kudos to Reddit for standing up to legal intimidation and protecting users from overreaching demands. Maybe Jingy and Laura should try focusing on their State Bar of Arizona investigation and Maricopa County attorney criminal investigation cases instead of silencing critics. Just a thought. So he said, you're commanded to produce all of this stuff at a date and time. And they were like, let me get back to you. And they did. He said, I'm Baby Jingy. I'm a lawyer in Phoenix. I'm sending you this notification. I've been with, blah, blah, blah. You got to do it. His fans are total effing a-holes. And Reddit's like, yeah, that's our audience. As part of this, Clayton's fans, the one with YouTube channels, have recently started copying in my videos and streaming them on their own channels. So again, it's like, take that up with YouTube. Below is a screenshot of a tweet where one of Clayton's fans brags about this specific issue. So, and by the way, this is Laura 101, where she'll complain about one thing, then provide evidence from another thing for that first complaint. So because one person online said, don't give him the views, he's now conflating that with the content creator said, don't give him the views. You guys know me way before Baby Jingy knew what YouTube was. We were always giving credit to the source, which is partly why I was so annoyed and lost any remaining respect I had for Nick Viall, that he wouldn't give me the credit that was so rightfully due, not because I need it from him, but just to see what a petty asshole he is. You have to give credit to the source if you can find it. Sometimes things get stuck in the ecosystem and you literally, like, memes get sent so many times around, you can't, but when it's very obvious how to give credit, you should. So Baby Jingy claimed the Reddit user's summary posts are a copyright violation. So he makes these claims we don't need to get into. Reddit hired the prominent law firm Perkins Cole. Oh, that sounds like a good one, right? Perkins Cole. That sounds like a porn star name, doesn't it? Oh, did you see the one with Debbie and Perkins Cole? Yeah, it's a lawyer tries to subpoena a Redditor. Next thing you know, they fall in love and bump their Harrisons. Okay, Perkins Cole. Just me? All right, looking at the super chats. Thank you guys so much. We just got our first super chat from Lisa. Thanks for all your hard work. Have a little breadstick money. All right, will do. I had my cold brew money this morning. Oh, the sound of opportunity. So, like I said, I'll get into the appeal. I'm just going to glaze over it because I could do it for hours and I have a lot of other stuff to do. 360 in the chat. Patton says it's pronounced Co-E. What? Co-E? Perkins Co-E? Do we have that wrong? Oh, you're right. It was a little, okay, that's Perkins Co-E. Thank you so much. Meg says, I think showing IDs to watch your show might help fish her out of your Patreon. I think what I need to do is hire a member of our Patreon to be the bouncer. Just to double check everyone's who they say they are. Deb Peterson says, why Debbie? Sorry, Debbie. You got stuck in the porno. You heard the porno name. What do you want? Okay. Anyway, here's their response, January 10th. Dear Baby Jingy. Get rid of that. We represent Reddit and write in response to the subpoena issued in the above referenced matter. Reddit objects to the subpoena for the reasons below. Please contact me to meet and confer if you disagree with any of our objections. First, Reddit objects on the basis that the subpoena seeks the identity of Reddit users who made specific posts, thereby implicating the First Amendment rights of Reddit users to engage in anonymous speech. See Smythe vs. Does. Denying the motion to enforce a subpoena against service provider where a movement failed to overcome users' First Amendment right to anonymous speech. Before a subpoena can issue to a service provider like Reddit for information regarding the identity of an anonymous internet user, the party seeking the information must first persuade the court that there is a real evidentiary basis for believing that the defendant has engaged in wrongful conduct that has caused real harm to the interest of the plaintiff. So they said, well, it doesn't, hold on. I didn't realize I was losing it there. Let me see if I can move this down here. Whenever I hit the wrong button, my fingers go. All right, so they said, based on your letter dated December 27th, we understand that the court issued a subpoena on December 27th with a December 27th compliance date. We understand that you revised the subpoena's compliance date to January 17th to provide Reddit a reasonable amount of time to respond. To the extent the subpoena you served on Reddit differs in any way from the subpoena the court issued, with the exception of the revised compliance date, Reddit objects to your subpoena as invalid. The old invalid subpoena. That sounds like a punk rock song. BS says, Dingus got served. Oh my gosh, we got 50 California dollars from France. 50 California. No, I said that right. I will be the first to buy a ticket if you come to a club in Quebec, Canada. I would love to come to Quebec. I also don't want to do tour just on this. I want to do actual stand up. It's kind of just tough to it's maybe possibly one versus the other. Maybe I'll do a stand up set, like a 30-minute set, and then I get into the documentary. Although you assert that the Reddit user at issue is posting content that constitutes a violation of this law, which Reddit does not concede, there is no indication that a court has considered and found that you have provided a real evidentiary basis for believing that the speaker has engaged in wrongful conduct. Moreover, a court must assess and compare the magnitude of harms that would be caused to the parties' competing interests if the court ordered disclosure of the speaker's identity. What I think they're trying to say is, if they did something so harmful, like made threats on someone's life or something like that, then the court can weigh that it's more important to disclose who they are. Second, Reddit objects to the subpoena issued under the DMCA to the extent it seeks information regarding an account holder whose conduct is protected by the fair use doctrine. Oh, the old fair use doctrine. Third, oh, you love it when they get into they're just numbering it. We've got a 4-part response. He's like, oh no, not 4 parts. Poor Baby Jingy's like, can I fit the Rule 26 into this? No, you can't. You just can't. California dollars. Did I say Canadian dollars? Did I say California? Whatever. Third, Reddit objects to the subpoena to the extent that your client lacks standing to bring an action for copyright infringement, much less the statutory authority to request a subpoena. In particular, it is not evident whether your client is the copyright owner of the allegedly infringing content identified in Exhibit A. Fourth, Reddit objects to the subpoena because the DMCA notifications contained within Exhibit A is unsatisfactory. Oh, well, that explains a lot. He's unsatisfactory. Maybe the blowjob was unsatisfactory. Got us into this problem. They said, seriously, Reddit destroyed Gingras. Is only enforceable if served with a subsequent to a satisfactory DMCA notification. Fifth, oh boy, they got, how many? 8? They got 7. Oh, lucky 7s. They have 7. Fifth, Reddit objects to the subpoena to the extent it seeks information protected by any privilege, including the attorney-client privilege, work product immunity doctrine, or any other applicable privilege, immunity, or restriction on discovery. You can tell these Reddit lawyers have done this before. You could tell. Ikimbo said, fair use doctrine escapes the 1A lawyer. Erica said, waiting for someone close to the family to explain their parenting fail. Well, I tell you what, we're at 400 people in the chat. When we get to 500, I will share with you what somebody close to the family has said. You're not going to like it. We'll do that at 500. At 500, we'll share that. Hit the like button. 181 likes. I bet you if everyone who's watching hit the like button, and I know there's people watching on their, Google home device like a monster. You're a monster out there if you're watching on a Google home device. Do what you got to do. Oh, and by the way, check this out. Tomorrow, we'll dunk on him tomorrow. It's only a day away. Tomorrow, on and on. He broke out in a song and dance. I don't know, but I liked it. All right, Annie. Tomorrow, I've got a financial expert coming on the show, a live stream at 11 a.m. You're going to want to put this in your calendars, folks. They've got Google Slides, all right? You don't like it when an expert has Google Slides. They've got Google Slides that are going to share all of the home purchases and financial information surrounding the Owens. Now, why is this interesting? Well, they're getting $100,000 from this GoFundMe from charitable audience members. Could it be that they've, we're gonna break into what loans they have, who's co-signing them, all the different things, and I'm gonna hear from the experts because, to be quite honest, I haven't covered the financial issues that much because it's been a lot. It's been a lot to cover. Maybe we'll just send this live stream all the way over to Rachel Mitchell, but that'll be tomorrow. It's gonna be very interesting. 11 a.m. Central Time. Fifth, Reddit objects to the subpoena to the extent it seeks information protected by any privilege, including the attorney-client privilege, work product immunity, doctrine, or any other applicable privilege, immunity, or restriction on discovery. By the way, isn't this nice? I got natural light beaming at me right now over my desk. If you could only see my office right now. Jane says it's almost up to 110,000 already. I'll take my channel. Let me put it this way. If you had the chance to bet on, and not to make it personal, whose podcast is going to be more successful in the long term, would you put money on me or Laura Owens? Jingy attached himself to the wrong horse, metaphorically speaking. Sixth, Reddit objects to the subpoena to the extent it seeks information that Reddit is legally or contractually prohibited from disclosing. To the extent the subpoena requires the disclosure of documents containing proprietary or confidential information, trade secrets, or information that may implicate third-party privacy rights. This includes information that may be protected from disclosure by federal and state privacy laws, including but not limited to any Reddit user. When it comes to Reddit, I hate that anonymous people can be mean on Reddit. I hate that, but I also don't think that you shouldn't be anonymous. I just think it sucks that it's a easy place for mean people to exist without consequence. With that said, I don't think Reddit should be banned because of that. I just think you shouldn't read the comments. Number 7, biblical, 7 days of the week. On the seventh day, God rested. But on the seventh point, this law firm doubled down. Reddit objects to the subpoena to the extent it imposes any obligations, including with respect to the production of electronically stored information that are different from or in addition to those imposed by the federal rules of civil procedure. Reddit further objects to the extent that your request includes electronically stored information that is, one, not reasonably accessible by Reddit because of undue burden or expense, two, obtainable from another source that is less burdensome, expensive, or more convenient, and or three, unreasonably cumulative or duplicative, or where the likely burden or expense of producing the electronically stored information outweighs it's in the likely benefit. In light of Reddit's objections, Reddit will not produce documents responsive to this request as drafted. Please contact me if you would like to further discuss. If you decide to file a motion to compel, after we meet and confer, please note that any such motion must be brought in the Northern District of California. Reddit otherwise preserves and does not waive any other available objections or rights, whether substantively or procedurally. All the best, Reddit. Sarah sending a $20 super chat, sending that breadstick money. Thank you so much for that. How kind of you guys. All right, here we are, 463 in the chat. We are inching our way to 500. So are there any other slides from this? No. So again, I'm going to get to, like I said, at 500 people in the chat, I will share that screen grab that will remind you why we have to continue doing this. Because on one end, sure, I would love to not talk about someone that is so meaningless to my everyday life. Laura Owens is nothing but, a skid mark on your boots with regard to there's no cultural relevance to her other than the harm she has done to these men. There's no need for me to follow her ever again. The only reason we're still here is because of the threats that continue to emerge. One threat, of course, being what I shared from Justice for Clayton, how they shared the Instagram story, let's see here, we got a fake pregnancy belly. And I'm so glad they keep doing this. They keep reminding people, there she is adjusting a fake belly. I mean, this is diabolical stuff. Diabolical stuff. I mean, that's a real belly. That's someone who had a baby. God bless them. Beautiful family, Ashley, Greg. So anyhow, this was the comment here that we already shared that he says, look, he's planning on suing people. Now, is he going to sue me? I personally don't think so, but I think his motivations are I think he'd do it for free on behalf of Laura, and we would continue to raise funds in an army that would watch it go down. I don't want that to happen. I have so many other good things going on in my life, but as we've proven for a year and a half, we're not going to be bullied or silenced. It's just not going to happen. And I think what he's noticing is he's got some outs. Well, if I have a license, assuming no other information comes in, then yes, I'll do it. So he's still willing to bark and say, oh, I'll come out, I'm going to get over there. But if he gets any out whatsoever, take the out. Because A, you're going to lose. You're going to give me more momentum, and it's just going to be something. I mean, the thing that makes this story go national is if I get sued. I'm telling you right now. People the sort of lower level gossip of the Bachelor and the blowjob and everything. You start suing YouTubers that are covering justice, just like the Maricopa County. Wouldn't it be interesting if he sues me for the same information that Maricopa County uses to indict her? It's what world do we live in? Now, do I think that lawsuit would get thrown out? Like Clayton threw out her phone number after she blew him? Yeah, I think it would get thrown out. But, a boy can dream. All right. Well, we're at 488 people. Let's do this. I'm going to get into the, let's see. This is the email so this is what we just read. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, that's the response from Perkins Coie. Perkins Coie, not messing around. Boy, I might have to close that window. I'm going to put my head. As much as I like the sun coming in, it's actually making me blind. Hopefully they'll realize that their bullying tactics aren't working to their benefit. Well, you think they would realize that already. Hold on, I got to shut one window here. Behave. Oh, by the way, I forgot to do this. I'm still kind of new to this, not to this light, but I told you when I get a super chat, I'm going to turn my, I'm going to turn that button on. That's my super chat button. So for the 3 super chats we already got, thank you guys so much. That's like when you score a goal in the hockey game and they turn on the the siren or whatever. So appreciate you guys. All right, let's turn that part off so we don't get any seizures here. There it is. Isn't that nice? It looks better at night because it's really shiny, but you can see it comes in all the different colors there. This is what it looks like off. That's off, and then this is 10. And check this out. Oh, we got to turn it back on, and that's at 100% right there. And then what's interesting is I have 2 other up cameras here. So I have 2 other cameras. I have 2 other lights, and I hooked them up to my Wi-Fi. So check this out. I can turn all 3 lights on at the same time. So you get that nice up light. You guys don't care. All right. So anyway, let's get into it. Here we are, 498 people in the chat. So we're getting there. Kimbo said, Baby Jingy took this case thinking it would elevate and enrich him. Much like Laura, he's in too deep and refuses to admit the obvious truth. Yeah, wouldn't that be crazy? It's like you take a case, you want to dunk on some people, you kind of think you're bigger, more, you're the Wizard of Oz. You're behind the curtain, you're pulling the strings, and then all of a sudden you have people like Reddit lawyers dunking on him, Woodnick Law dunking on him, Twitter people, Instagram people, YouTube people dunking on him. He has not gotten a victory since taking on Laura. In fact, and I hate to say it, Laura hasn't gotten a victory since we showed up. Boo fucking who. All right. And I don't mean to say that to sort of have a victory lap, but it's just to say it's not a don't F with me moment. It's a don't F with the truth. The truth really does speak loudly, doesn't it? Oh, thanks, guys. You guys are so kind. Okay, I guess, so we'll get into this, but we hit 500, and I promised I would share something with you. But first, no, I'm just kidding. So here it is. Again, it's not deep tea, but it's the thing that keeps alarming me. I know people that have spoken to Ron Owens. Okay? Not just one. At this point, he can assume just about everybody that he speaks to has also spoken to me. And why do I say that? Well, because anybody with 3 brain cells looks at this case and knows exactly what's going down. Now, the only people that don't know what's going down are those that have only spoken to Ron Owens and possibly haven't done any research, and they can't, but it's easy to think, oh, so-and-so's the enemy because you only hear it from your quote unquote friend. So here's a DM I'm going to share with you guys from somebody. So sad that Ron needs this to help with his medical needs. However, I'm suspicious that it is more for Laura's shenanigans. Don't believe any of that Bachelor crap. Okay, first of all, guy can't even spell Bachelor. Laura is being smeared. This is not from Ron. This is from a person in Ron's circle. You'll find out more in the coming months. This person said, but there is so much proof that she has lied. Hold on, I wasn't ready. There's so much proof that she has lied. There's so much proof that she has lied.
She lied?
Don't believe any of that Bachelor crap. He says, people are making things up out of whole cloth. Trust me, I know everything about this and have since the smear started. Now, if somebody said this on week 1, you might go, geez, is this Dave guy a bad guy? Is he on the wrong side of this story? Does he have some personal vendetta to blow all of his the good things happening in his life so he could get sued to oblivion for all of the lies he has told? No, that's not who I am. Since this story has started, we've been very careful to make sure the information we're sharing has been run through the court system, that it's verified, all of the things that you would hope any journalist would do. Jim Schuler said, making things up out of whole cloth like pregnancies. By the way, I don't even know the saying. What is the saying? Making things up like whole cloth. Is that a saying? Making things up out of whole cloth. Making things up out of whole cloth. From pure fabrication or fiction, this expression is often put as cut or made out of whole cloth, as in that story was cut out of whole cloth. In the 15th century, this expression referred to something fabricated from cloth that ran the full length of the loom. Okay. Boomer! No, I'm just kidding. We love our boomers out here. But, trust me, I know everything. Nancy said, #Delulu. Well, look, honestly, if there's any evidence that they have that Laura's pregnant, it's not too late for me to change my opinion. You could say, you know what? We found the binder. All the metadata lines up. Turns out she had these ultrasounds. If that happened, I'd say, damn, I've seen all this new information. And as much as I want to disagree with it, it seems to be real. I talked to the doctors and all these things add up. I can't believe she didn't bring this out during all of those trials and everything. That doesn't exist. And I remember even when Woodnick Law was subpoenaing or when they were trying to get the medical information released from all the different doctors, they were like, we're not expecting anything. We'd be surprised if something came in, but like maybe she was holding out, You ever play poker and you're losing and everyone's talking trash and you have that one card and you're like, you're playing, you're like, finally, boom. Well, in this case, she's already lost in all these different ways. She has no card to play. France with another $5 Canadian super chat. Oh, thank you, France. Here's your super chat button. Boo. Dave, do you know if Laura paid and apologized to PS Studio? She did neither. Well, put it this way. She didn't willingly pay. The transaction was reversed, which means her credit card was charged the $350. Chicago Girl said, I'm 57 and I've never heard that before. Well, that's because you're not from the 15th century. Mother Pugger says, that's not even boomer. That's pilgrim status. You guys are funny. People are making things up out of whole cloth. They're coming in there using the cloth straight off the loom. And it's like, I shop at the Gap. What are you talking about? Deb says, the truth rises to the top. Lies continue to build and spiral. Trust me, I know everything about this. Look, folks, my DMs are open. Oh, geez, you guys are killing me here. $5 super chat from Louise with a $5. I want this person to show the everything they have. Even Laura doesn't have proof of everything she claims to be true. Louise, listen to the man. He said, trust me. Maybe in his generation, trust me existed. In my generation, we have the internet and we Google things. Now, that doesn't mean everything you Google is correct, but we can get a hold of the information pretty quick. Danny says, the new Tennessee accent's coming out. People are making things out of whole cloth. Trust me, I know everything about this. I have since the smear started. The smear started before the war. I remember the good old days, a dusty field, a nice sundress. Next thing you know, Jimmy was born. Them's the good old days. We birthed Jimmy right on this whole cloth. We didn't make anything up out of that. Oh, boy. What can you do? Denise said, there's no way you're on the wrong side of this. Trust me, Denise. I agree. The smear. Oh, a good smear. We like a good smear, right? I like to smear cream cheese. I don't like to smear people, all right? There's no smearing of people. Stephanie says, seriously, dude, you missed the hearing. It was June 10th. Stephanie, are you not listening to the guy? He knows everything. Come on, Stephanie. Will you respect this guy? He's not cutting cloth out of the loom or whatever. What are you talking about? Cutting cloth out of the loom. Back in my day, we cut the cloth out of the loom, but these kids are running around with them lies, them big scary lies. That's why we need to burn the books. We need to burn the books because they're cutting things out of those books. The frogs are turning gay. There's something in the fluoride that's turning the frogs gay, and Laura's not lying. Alex said, with that accent, you'd be perfect for The Walking Dead. Well, I'd love to watch a zombie show, but that'd be making things up out of whole cloth. And we don't want to do that. We're not trying to make things up out of whole cloth. We have another $7 Canadian Super Chat here from Toronto. Thank you from Toronto. Here's your Super Chat button coming in right over there. Is it becoming a Louisiana accent? I do declare we've got the Super Chat button coming here on the Big Easy. Ikimbo said, here's a Shakespearean saying, hoisted by their own petard. There it is. Is that a slur? What are you saying? Be careful. Reg Angel says, I did work at Victoria's Secret all through college. I hated our theft policy. Could you explain the theft policy? You would just let kids steal thongs? I think the only reason people stole is because their parents weren't letting them wear thongs. Does anyone have that scenario where you're 14 and your mom's like, you can't wear that? And it's like, I will go to the edge of the earth. I mean, how many people's first theft was because their parents told them they couldn't do something, so they had to steal in order to do it? Jane Jones said, so was that the end of the conversation? I think it was. That's all I got. That's all I got from the convo. That's it. There's your screen grab. Sorry, I don't have more. You got to trust the guy. He knows everything. Trust me, I know everything. Life is like a box of chocolates. Don't believe any of that Bachelor crap. Laura's being smeared. You'll find out more in the coming months. This guy belongs on a Snapple. The Snapple cap, Snapple facts. People are making things up out of loincloths. Trust me, I knows everything about this and have since the smears began. Do you swear the cloth and nothing but the whole cloth? So help you God? Cat Lady says, first theft, how many things have you stolen? Well, no, I'm not talking to me. I didn't steal any thongs. I wore whitey tighties like a man. Nancy says, mine was makeup in the 6th grade. Now, Nancy, let me ask you, did you steal the makeup because your mom wouldn't let you wear makeup, or is it just because you didn't have any money? Anyhow, let's move it on. So I did want to cover 543 in the chat. By the way, and again, I'm not saying this as a popularity contest with Megan. I love Megan. How does she get 1,200 people in her chat and we're only at 500? Like, is something going on with my YouTube I don't know about? Or did I just piss off of too many people? You know what I mean? Megan, how come you're more likable than I am? What is wrong with the world? I'm just kidding. We love Megan. Jane says, you do an amazing accent. You're so funny, Dave. Well, you all should join the Patreon.com/Dave Neal. I love it. KY says, trust him. He can't even spell bachelor. That's a bachelor crap. I got a bachelor crap. By the way, that would be like a great just merch. Bachelor crap. All right. Well, speaking of merch, there's so many notable merch lines from here. I'm going to blaze through this. I'm only going to be here for another 40 minutes tops. I'm getting out at 12:30. I'm going to go live with the Patreon and make the afternoon podcast. By the way, and I have to say this, you guys have to understand, my livelihood is attached to the pitch I'm about to make right now. I'm not telling you to join the Patreon or Super Chat. I'm saying for free. And by the way, check this out. Can you believe the amount of views and comments we're getting on this? Can I share this? I'm just going to share the first 10 seconds while I drink my coffee. This is our son seeing snow for the first time. This is our vlog channel. I'm not here to promote too many things. I'm going to get into the brief, but I'm telling you, this is a love letter to my family. If anyone enjoys these, I thank you so much.
Sled coming, but I think we can improvise.
Hold on. I'm going to go to the first 10 seconds. That's all I'm going to play.
Guess what, August? It's snowing.
The music.
Do you know what snow is?
You want to go see some snow?
August sees snow. The piano. You kidding me? I never know what music I'm going to choose, but when I hear the song, I go, that's it. That's the song.
Close his eyes. Don't open them. Don't let him see. Bring him out.
First snow.
Augie.
No. Okay. Okay, let him see.
What is that? What is all that?
Fat snow, too.
Do you see the snow?
Good smile.
Aren't you excited about the snow? Are you so excited by the snow?
Look at the trees.
Augie, you know what this means?
Snow day.
Snow day.
So then we go into a full snow day. And then I just want to share with you the part that was the real love story. This is just, you know, this is just for, I'm making these videos for my family, but if people want to vicariously feel that love, they can as well. But, you know, when you look back at these, it's like the level of multidimensional feeling of video versus like photos. I didn't grow up with many photos with my family. We didn't have that. And my mom was kind of like lower middle class. We didn't, you know, you'd only have like a big photo on a special occasion, but this tells a story. There is a conspiracy that we bought a dog and we're not telling people, which, by the way, I love conspiracies. Let me know where you heard the dog, because I'll play it again. Oh, you know what? Maybe you did. It wasn't my dog, but was there a dog here when we were sledding? Let's see. By the way, this is a public area, so it's not my dog. Do you hear a dog? Let's see. Do you hear a dog? I didn't hear any dogs. Either way, no, we don't have a dog. My mother-in-law has a dog, so when they visit, the dog comes over. But no, we're not going to get a dog for a long time. Trust me, it'll be several years, probably. I mean, we're not. It's not going to happen. We love our Boone, who passed away this past summer, but it's just not going to happen. All right, let's go. Let's move it. So anyway, you can go check that out. Tasha, Courtney, and Dave Neal do fun things. And look at that, 104 comments. That is incredible. Like the amount of comments that came in from this video was just so insanely. And by the way, we shared this final clip of the baby climbing up these blocks that one of you guys got. Someone got them blocks, these big foam blocks, and it was just, you know, it's just it's been nothing short of a blessing. Getting to know this beautiful little human. So this is a lot to cover. Oh, Stephanie said dog was at the beginning. Hold on, let's listen to it. I'm going to prove you wrong. Dog was at the beginning when Tasha brought Augie outside. All right, let's listen. I love that you guys, I think there's dogs. Oh, you know what, you're right. You're right, there is a dog.
Close his eyes.
I'll explain whose dog it is.
Don't let him see.
You're right.
Bring him out.
Augie.
No. Okay.
I didn't know what you were talking about.
Okay, let him see.
What is that? What is
Our neighbors have a Rottweiler. Listen. It's on the other side of the fence.
Do you see the snow? Aren't you excited about the snow?
All right, here it comes.
Are you so excited by the snow?
Augie, you know what this means?
Yes, you're right. Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's on the other side of the fence. Not our dog. That's a giant Rottweiler. Anyhow, let's move it on. Well, you guys are good. No, because in the past we had a dog in a video. His name's Boomer. We actually have a dog. There's a dog named Boomer. I love Boomers, and Boomer comes to visit when the in-laws come. All right, so I know a lot of you guys have already seen this. I'm going to try to just barrel through some of it. Statement of the case. So this is Clayton Eckert's response to Laura Owen's appeal. Thank you guys for all the kind words. Erica says, duh, it's your secret dog. I mean, you guys know I can't keep a secret from anybody. But it would be cool to have a secret dog. It feels like yesterday that we were in Los Angeles and Boone would sit at my feet and I would pull him up and you guys would see him. But hey, I think actually, gosh, is today his birthday? I think tomorrow's his birthday. Statement of the case. This somewhat unusual case comes before the Court of Appeals following paternity litigation without a proven pregnancy. Although the opening brief makes sweeping claims of jurisdictional deficiency in judicial misconduct, the core issue is whether a person may file a petition alleging paternity, fail to provide objectively sufficient proof of pregnancy, tamper with evidence and lie under oath, and opt out of litigation consequence-free. Now, to be quite honest, the tampering with evidence is probably the thing that just seals the deal whatsoever. And as we covered yesterday, I had a retired lawyer who we respect said, you know, they could have been a little stronger with how they came at this, but I think you expect the appeals court judge to understand the severity of tampering with evidence. What? Tampering with evidence? And then they'll prove their case. Statement of fact and procedural history. Because this court generally defers to the findings of fact of the trial court, and most of the factual findings are not challenged, Clayton will provide a non-comprehensive summary of the facts and history. Additionally, although there were 2 companion actions in order of protection and injunction against harassment that occurred during the underlying paternity action, they are only discussed to the extent relevant to the case. So they go into it. Laura performed oral sex on Clayton. Laura has a medical history of diagnosed conditions. The trial court found that sexual conduct did not result in pregnancy. Laura has a medical history. And this is where she gets it all wrong, because she says, well, my expert said I must have been pregnant. And she's going to hold on to that till the end of the day. So they share the HCG test that Laura took, and, all of the different things we've already covered, the doctors who she said she saw, all of this because she didn't. She allegedly obtained the original sonogram anonymously at Planned Parenthood Mission Viejo. Planned Parenthood does not accept patients using an alias. Patients are required to provide a government-issued form of identification, which, by the way, I didn't prepare to cover this, but let's just Oh, I'm sorry. You guys couldn't see what I was looking at. My bad. We're going to go briefly to the Justice for Clayton page here. Let's see. Justice for Clayton, or Justice for All Victims on Twitter. Clayton's Justice is what it's called here. So they provided, I thought they were the ones who had the video of Laura here. Gingras believes if someone makes an intentional mistake, they can get dragged through litigation. Laura was the one who literally sent mass emails. Hold on. Laura and her laughing about her own miscarriage. Laura admits she wanted to tell Clayton just 2 days after her HCG level was 1 or 2 that the babies were gone. The pregnancy had failed. Yet in the very next moment, she claimed she didn't know she wasn't pregnant when she told him and the judge just 2 weeks in. So they share all of these crazy things. Laura knows you have to show ID to be seen at a medical facility, apparently not at Planned Parenthood. Here's what they had to say. And again, I don't want to play much of this because I don't want to promote their channel at all. But if you do want to go check this out, I'm guessing it's on Gingras' channel. I'm looking at this on a different site.
So on October 16th, that's you allegedly obtained a blood draw. I mean, they subpoenaed the records from the play.
They have the results. Yeah.
Well, no, hang on. Let's be fair. You could have sent your sister, right? I mean,
oh, come on.
Yes, they subpoenaed.
You have to show ID. You have to show ID. So no, I couldn't have.
Okay.
So she says you have to show ID. So at this point, she knows you have to show ID to do the blood test that showed she had a 102. I mean, at any point does she discuss the things that matter, And I do wonder if at any point, and maybe this isn't ethical, but I wonder if Gingras has considered turning on her. And knowing that as her representative, if he can get her to lie in a way, it's not his fault, it's hers. I wouldn't respect him for doing that. He would only be doing it for self-serving reasons. But look, this is what they're going to do. They've got a relatively decent looking setup. They've got decently clear cameras, decent audio. It's kind of funny that he's actually better at podcasting than she is from a technical level. She uses that, I'm guessing she's on a green screen. I don't know where she is. I'm guessing it's a green screen, but she uses the tool that lets you clear up your face. There's like a blemish tool, and it just makes the whole thing look fake. So anyhow, but then again, do we expect anything real out of her? So anyway, she testified on March 1st that she obtained a sonogram at Planned Parenthood that confirmed the presence of twins, but then she obtained the original sonogram anonymously at Planned Parenthood. She changed that. So it's important that right here on page 9 that they are sharing just the fact that she blatantly lied. Then she testified the sonogram was from a visit to Planned Parenthood Los Angeles. She claimed this was the reason Clayton was unable to obtain any records from the Planned Parenthood. So she has an answer to everything. It's just really, really bad. It's not a good answer. In that saying, there's a reason why you couldn't find it. It's because I did it anonymously. She made 4 appointments with Dr. McCool, although she never actually showed up. Laura rescheduled 3 of the appointments and canceled the 4th. So she kept on changing the appointment, kicking the can down the road, and finally just canceling it. So when she said, no, I saw that, I went to go see them, her lawyer tried to argue she intended to go see him but didn't actually go. No, she made it very clear she saw these doctors when she didn't. Laura's records show she was never treated by Dr. McCool, Dr. Higley. So again, these are all things that are getting shared with the appeals court. Clayton and Laura, by this point, if you're the appeals court, you have to go, oh, she sounds full of shit. On October 18th, Laura learned she had no viable pregnancy via blood test. On October 16th, she requested pre-decree mediation, claiming that Clayton acts as if the unborn children don't exist, which, of course, they don't. They were due on February 14th. On December 12th, this is when, like right before Megan Fox started following, this is when we were really thinking, oh, dang, she's about to get away with this. Clayton filed a notice of filing affidavit of non-paternity. Laura filed a motion to dismiss petition to establish paternity. So at this point, on December 28th, she says, I'm done. I don't have any babies. Let's dismiss this. I did this case as far as I wanted it to go. Nothing to see here. We are done. Lisa said, disgusting to take up appointments for people that really need them. Yeah, imagine Dr. McCool. Imagine there's a waiting list to see Dr. McCool. And, you know, you're wondering, you want to hear your baby's heartbeat. And you don't get to go in because Laura has an appointment. Catherine said, you can't convince me that Janie does not have traditional health insurance purchased or state provided. No reason to go to cash pay urgent care. Yeah. So on February, Laura deposed Clayton. During the status conference in February 21st, Laura claimed she miscarried in September or October. And with consent of the parties, the court advised it would review the hearings, treat the motion to dismiss as a request for attorney's fees equally. So, you know, at this point in March, this is where it's really starting to get so, I mean, it was already obvious, but like now, like she's been deposed or she's getting deposed, he's getting deposed. For the first time, Laura stated she passed 2 sacs, which appear to have a membrane. Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. Deb said she realized that people were under her. Well, you know, when you're pregnant, you still, or when she was claiming she was pregnant, there was still that what if, you know? What if that's her real belly? You know? When I heard from sources inside the courtroom that she showed up with a bump, everyone was like, God damn, what? And then the internet was able to catch her moving it probably better than anyone in the room because the internet doesn't lie and it's recording it, you know?
She lied?
Clayton filed a motion to compel Laura to disclose the alleged Planned Parenthood records, the image of the 2 sacs, the name of the telehealth provider. So we got an image of the sacs, but it was like wildly photoshopped. You could see the outer glow. You could see where the Photoshop happened. I mean, everything short of a Fiverr logo, the images were super fake. We examined them. We examined the images. People thought maybe it's from some cattle or some veterinary thing. Laura filed a motion to compel lunch. Laura filed a motion in limine. All these motions were denied. Laura's prior counsel filed an ethical rule notice saying that Miss Owens has notice of candor indicating that their statement at the status conference that Miss Owens has not lied in the case was no longer true, considering her deposition on March 1st. Trial, final judgment. From May to June, the parties filed various other motions, summarizing the history of the court's findings and all that. So again, a really good summary of a lot of chaotic events. I mean, it must have been very challenging to whittle this thing down. The court awarded Clayton attorney's fees and costs. We got that. And then, of course, Clayton showed how much the costs were. They were, you know, whatever they were, 150 grand or whatever. Teresa said the Owens' secrets are in their tax filings, and that might be reasons for an extra delay. A comprehensive deep dive into the whole family's spider web of financial fraud, perhaps. Yes, Teresa, there is a scenario. I don't mean to sound conspiratorial, but there is a scenario where there is a much, much greater thing happening here. Ikimbo said, Dave, your Fiverr moment was YouTube gold. Sarah said she purposely stood up. A real pregnant woman wouldn't do that to show her belly to prove pregnancy because she would actually have a baby on the way to prove it. Yeah, the confidence of a pregnant person to not have to prove they're pregnant. It's like, yeah, what do you want? Like, look at me. I'm tired. My feet hurt. I'm pregnant. You know, after the rule on July 8th, Laura filed a notice of change of judge. So they tried to change the judge. They tried to get a new case. Blah, blah, wah, wah, wah. The court has an independent duty to determine whether it has jurisdiction to consider the issues raised in an appeal. So they go into some of the case law arguments and things like that. Where's the thing about the magic? The mention of magic is really funny. Magic words. Is it magic words? I'm not seeing it. It's in here somewhere. Laura's reliance on our interpretation of Rule 26 is misplaced. So then they argue Rule 26 and say, look, you're not even arguing the right thing. And could there be a scenario in which Baby Gingrey is just arguing whatever he can to stay involved in the case? You know, he basically promised Laura, like, I'm going to be able to get an appeal. He was so confident in this that anybody who doesn't know the law goes, well, he's got an, I mean, he says he's got an appeal. He says he's going to the Supreme Court. And they're saying, look, you're completely misinterpreting how Rule 26 in family court works. Now, could you, Voldemort? Yeah, where is Voldemort? It's just not showing up in my searches. So we'll find it. The court must, let me know if anyone knows what page that's on. Talisman, says Alex. I don't think any of these words are, I don't think my search tool is working because magic words should work. Page 26. Oh, funny. Assuming arguendo that these assertions are true as to sanctions under Rule 26, Laura asks this court to craft a safe harbor. So they get into all of the sort of boring legalese regarding it all. But here's page 26. If the court adopts this interpretation, then the phrase Rule 26 will become the family law equivalent of Beetlejuice or Voldemort or Ni or Nai. I still don't know. Words with magical and counterintuitive effects triggered by their mere utterance. Invoking Rule 26 would have so little value and so much risk that aggrieved parties would never use it again. Arizona law has long disfavored magic words and exalting form over function, particularly when prioritizing formality, would undercut the court's jurisdiction in a family law matter. They go on and on. So, yeah, it's a great use of mockery to say, what are we just going to do? If you really say that Rule 26 can just pull you out of this situation, then people are just going to, every court case is going to use it. So it goes on. And again, if you want to listen to someone read the full thing, I think Schnitzel Ninja does it maybe without any commentary whatsoever. Our friend Lauren has done it, Megan Fox, but it can take hours to go through this. Laura had noticed an opportunity to be heard, but she wanted notice and an opportunity to unconditionally withdraw after she initiated the litigation in public alleged paternity. So Baby Gingrey would have us believe that Clayton's side is the one dragging this out. But what we know, especially with public figures, is that in today's world, dragging it out is the best way to put a nail in the coffin, right? Nail in the coffin. Like, a nail in the coffin. Like making things up out of whole cloth. Our favorite terms. Nail in the coffin, because if Clayton agreed to let her dismiss it, she writes a book. She tells her story, and then in 5 years, it becomes lore. And then if Clayton gets any success whatsoever, he's going to have tied to him this really messed up claim where he abandoned a pregnant woman who ended up getting a miscarriage from the stress of it all, right? That's what her claims are going to be. I miscarried because I was being bullied and there was so much stress. Now, can stress cause a miscarriage? I'm sure it can. Stress can cause a heart attack. It can kill you. The only problem is these babies never existed, and we've yet to see proof that they ever did. And she'll try to rewrite this story in certain ways and say, well, the reason I lied to Dave was because he was cyberbullying me. When? Where? Show me that video. Cyberbullying? I didn't even say your name until June 10th. Super Genius says, I'm still mad about the autism thing. Let me make sure there's no super chats I missed. Miss Stroon Loon. I think I missed that one. Let me get that. I might have missed that one. Thank you for the super chat there. Panty hamsters. That's why Megan is so popular. LOL. All right. Hey, I don't have panty hamsters. Carrie, $10 says for the seizure light. Oh, thank you, Carrie. Hold on. Let me get them. Carrie, for the seizure light. Yeah, that's the unofficial. That's the medical term for a strobe light, a seizure light. And we also got love from Canada, from Toronto. Noah Rothman, I think I already got you, but thank you guys all so much for those super chats. All 8 of you, we appreciate it. It does make a difference. I don't always do these live streams. Bruce said no clinical proof. Right. Yeah, I mean, we wanted that. We were begging for that, We were begging for it to the extent, and by the way, I want to share something that's going to sound vague, but it kind of has to be. There's been people that have obviously bounced out of my life because of our coverage. I recently found out that one person and by the way, do me a favor, don't try to find out who this is. I'm just sharing good news, but if you're a friend of mine, don't look into this any further than what I'm saying. There was somebody that I thought bounced out of my life whose opinions I really respect. I really liked this person. And it actually made me some nights have a hard time going to sleep because I would ruminate over like, dang, I really thought that person was a good person. And I thought, they had said so many kind things about me in the past that was it all for naught? Was it some big Hollywood, like fluff you up for your own benefit type of thing? And I really felt like I had completely misjudged somebody. And then, but I didn't act on that. I just kind of swallowed it. And then I found out that I had maybe preemptively judge that person and that they weren't abandoning me. And anyhow, I say all that because it restored a lot of faith and hope in my life. And the last thing I want to do is be of any bad energy. I don't care if I want as many people in the chat as possible, but I'd honestly rather have 15 people that are great energy than 1,000 people that are here for the wrong reasons. I don't think you guys are here for the wrong reasons. I think you want to see this thing through as much as I do. I don't know if there's anything worth covering here from the rest of this case. We obviously are going to have to wrap this puppy up. So, they talk about sanctions and all of the specifics, but I would say the appeals response is like way more nitty gritty. Laura's remaining argument is that the purpose of the rules is the same, so their interpretation must be the same. So again, they get into citing that Laura has not shown prejudicial error by judicial misconduct. The controlling standard for alleging mistakes in family law proceedings is harmless error. No cause shall be reserved for technical error in pleadings or proceedings. Counsel cannot find any examples of errors in the courts applying structural error analysis in a family law case. So I guess they were trying to argue structural error, and what they're saying here is that doesn't work in family law. That's my interpretation of it. So it might be that Baby Jingy says, no, this is the cause for a mistrial or this or that, and and they're saying no, there's no case law that shows that. Deb Peterson says, you know us and those of us who have been with you through it all. That's right. I've got my I don't know if you can see from the. Let me see if you guys can see this from the reverse here. But if you look closely, you might see the desk behind. Let's see if you can see it. Hold on. Look real closely. There's my light. Do you guys see that right there? Do you see what's behind the light? I know it's hard to see with the light on. It's my bookshelf. That's my bookshelf right there. The point of what I'm trying to say is you guys who've been here for a long time, you guys, you know where we come from. So I'll tell you what, let's go to the very back and work our way and see if there's anything like any closing summary towards this. So Woodnick signs his response, certificate of service, compliance, conclusion. The trial court admirably resolved this difficult matter and wrote a detailed, comprehensive, and legally complete judgment. The appellant has shown no reversible error. Clayton requests this court affirm the trial court's judgment in all respects, deny petitioner's appeal, and award respondent his reasonable attorney fees and costs on appeal. And then they further say that if they don't do this, trust me, I know everything. It's just a smear. And don't forget, people are making things up out of whole cloth. As it turns out, people making things up out of whole cloth is not entirely wrong. It's just that's what Laura's doing. So yeah, they're gonna tell their story, and I think for the most part they're gonna lay off me because why ruffle the feathers of the person who's been on the right side of the story all along? You know, you don't want to go up to bat against a guy who keeps striking you out. All right. So anyhow, there's your conclusion. And we got Reddit dunking on Jingy. You know, and again, all of these things, I don't think there's really too much. Was there a page where they discussed? How about this? By the time the motion to dismiss in December, only Laura knew about the 2 sacks she passed in September, October, or July 2023, as she later alleged. Only Laura knew about the October 16th HCG test showing Laura had either miscarried or that a miscarriage was inevitable. On October 18th, Laura filed a request. All right, so yeah, one of her. So on October 16th, her test results were so bad that she either miscarried or that a miscarriage was inevitable. Or as it turns out, she just was never pregnant enough, right? It was the HCG was put there, you know, put in her system by her. Which, you know, that would be the smoking gun, is to find like a proof of sale or something. I mean, if the Maricopa County could find her buying HCG, that would be amazing. Deb said they pushed, Dave and all of us pushed back. Yeah. So people on Reddit have been very kind in here too, to say, oh, Dave, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, in hindsight, it's looking like, gosh, you really stuck to your guns. And to that I say, we stuck to our guns. You know, none of this happens with me alone at my computer. So yeah. By the time, so Laura, on October 18th, Laura filed a request for pre-decree mediation, arguing Clayton even acts as if the unborn children weren't there. On October 24th, Laura testified she had a high-risk pregnancy, was 100% 24 weeks pregnant. Due on February 14th, it was being actively seen by Dr. McCool. So when she says on November 2nd that she's 100% 24 weeks pregnant, but then later claims that 2 weeks earlier, she found out that she wasn't viable, it's like, that's fraud. She also claims she was actively being seen. One boy, one girl. Laura knew all these facts about, so they list all the facts and then they say, Laura knew all these facts about the alleged miscarriage. She continued to assert she was pregnant in sworn testimony and court filings. Even in her December 28th motion to dismiss, she asserted she was not now pregnant without any further details. Clayton was appropriately skeptical of the assertion and asked for documentation. If Laura miscarried November 2nd, a reasonable assumption given her testimony that day, the miscarriage would have resulted in the issuance of death certificates to the Department of Vital Records. By this time, Clayton was also aware of Laura's past litigation alleging a coerced abortion and intentional infliction of emotional distress against other persons. Laura later commanded the court to take judicial notice of the action, so its existence became part of the trial record. Obtaining proof of how the pregnancy ended would certainly help to elucidate whether there was a pregnancy in the first place, and Clayton was entitled to that evidence. That's what it all comes down to. He's entitled to that evidence. Stephanie said she naively thought that different judges or different cases weren't going to share information. Rookie mistake. Well, she did try to get them sealed. She even emailed me saying that it was sealed. She said it must be sealed. You could tell she was like playing dumb, but with an iron fist, if that makes sense. It must be sealed. So I'd go, well, it must be sealed. No, it wasn't. I didn't know anything about how this all worked back then. But I'm not an idiot. I'm just like, I wasn't educated in the legal system. It's kind of like how you'll see someone get arrested and then all of a sudden they spend 5 years studying law and then they fight their case. It's like, we had to learn a lot. We've just never had to deal with this type of enemy before. When Laura moved to dismiss the case, Clayton had already filed his response. Clayton objected to the dismissal because his claims, including a determination about whether Laura was ever pregnant by him in the first place, still needed to be adjudicated. Yeah, Clayton says, you can't dismiss this case until we can prove you were never pregnant. The court followed proper procedure when finding voluntary dismissal was not appropriate and maintaining the action to resolve the remaining claims for non-paternity, attorney's fees, and sanctions. Voluntary dismissal after a responsive pleading requires a motion in the court's approval. The court may dismiss a petition after a response is filed, but only on such terms. At the time, Laura's primary argument for dismissal was that the court lost jurisdiction once the pregnancy ended. It did not. Subject matter jurisdiction is established at the time of filing and cannot be ousted by subsequent actions or events. Fry v. Garcia. pretty honest stuff. Laura argues the trial court's jurisdiction automatically abated upon her allegation she was no longer pregnant. This argument must also fail. So it's just one thing after another. They surgically respond to every accusation, and they surgically prove their point to every accusation. Kimmy says, I would still love to get info if there was an ex parte meeting or communication with Judge Judy. I would too. So if you want to join the podcast on the audio only, you can scan that QR code. But also, you know what I meant to do earlier, and I just didn't get around to it because I was all over the map here. But the Rush. So if you search the Rush Hour podcast, Dave Neal on YouTube, you'll get the playlist. I'm assuming. Here it is, the Rush Hour with Dave Neal, updated today. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. So these are 25-minute episodes twice a day. I now have them on YouTube and on the podcast app. So you can check out these episodes and you'll get all of the news going on. Now, I can only include one specific, thumbnail, but the news, it involves the California wildfire updates. It involves a little bit of politics. It involves what's going on with TikTok being sold, what's going on with the different crises that we face, entertainment news, Bachelor content. So for those out there that say, well, Dave, we love this, but we don't really care about The Bachelor. I get it. I've listened. I also care about things outside the world of The Bachelor. So I'll be covering all of that every single day. In fact, the afternoon rush hour, which will be out in like 3 hours, I have to go work on right now. So I will be joined by my Patreon live stream, and we're going to watch me go to work. And so that's what's coming up next. All right, folks. Again, if you want to check out those videos, there's a full playlist on this channel that you're already subscribed to called The Rush Hour with Dave Neal, and that is the podcast. Again, everything you hear on this live stream, on this playlist, is available on the podcast app as well. It might be, and by the way, this is the most liked, least disliked video we've had in a long time. 424 likes and 1 dislike, probably from Laura. Good to see you. How's that working out for you? Hey, Laura, how are your lies working out for you? Only one of us is being investigated by county prosecutors. That must be kind of scary, right? Well, I got to go. Thank you guys so much. I'll be live on Patreon in 1 minute. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. And we'll go get that afternoon rush hour ready for you. See you then. Oh, and don't forget, tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central Time, we're going to have that live stream with it might sound boring, the financial info, but maybe there's crimes going on. I don't know. I haven't seen it. So we're going to go dive into the financial info on the different dwellings owned by Laura Owens. Oh, we just got another downvote. Oh, yeah. Don't ruin a good thing. All right. Erica says, I disliked it. Okay, folks. We'll talk to another upvote. That's good. We'll see you this afternoon. I'm Dave Neal.